Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. End of the week. End of the week. Let's close this week out strong. Good morning, Coop, Stephen, Mindful Matters, Asa, Chris, Jeff. Jeff, you are new to trading, here to listen and learn. Fantastic. You're in the right place. You are in the right place. All right, so a little recap of where we are at, team. Okay. On a daily, remember, we are still in an uptrend. We are looking for the market to base over previous pivot highs, okay? And we have this Bollinger Band above us, and we are now inside of yesterday's range. So this can be very choppy today, inside of previous day range to end the week. Structural point of view, right, you can see here on the hourly chart, I've marked out the fibs for the whole range of yesterday. We're through yesterday's point of control, through today's point of control, and we're coming down and testing the lower range. The question that I am posing right now is this going to be a bear flag or right shoulder for a rejection lower? If we're going to do this, it's very likely that that will play out more likely into next week rather than a huge dump today. I could very well be wrong. Alternatively, are we going to start to build and soak and drive back into these areas? You must be aware of this golden pocket and of the supply box. Okay, so any longs today into there, you need to be taking profit into those areas. If we get above that, okay, and we do a cup and a handle, then you can think about extensions again, more likely to happen next week, I would say, unless something dramatically changes in the market. We have news in 10 seconds, so either be flat or have your stops in. They might get run over. There is no liquidity on the book. Let's see what happens with this news print. We're coming into areas of interest if the market is willing to hold up, all right? These areas right here. If we start to fail this, you have that double bottom yesterday, which is definitely a low-hanging fruit to the downside. So yesterday's low of day would be a low-hanging fruit trade to the downside if we start to give a directional trade, all right? Currently in the market, I am not bothered about doing anything right now, all right? We are in chop. This is choppy range. Inside of previous day's action, no clear directional move. I will join a trend if and when it presents itself and not before that. I'm not going to give up a good week of profits on a Friday. Just having a look around the market. So ES is holding a view up. I would much rather see a move back to the upside today, some form of manipulation lower and a move back up to the upside. I think that would be the easier trade today, just based on the structure that the hourly chart has made, but we might not get it. Maybe it wants to go and hang and attack those 20,190 double bottoms. We don't know. All right, it is Friday, it is end of the month. So I have no bias right now. I would love an upside move, a trap and an upside move, but I do not want to be buying highs near the 50% and near the golden pocket on the Fibonacci's. Right, don't want to buy highs today. If I'm going to buy this market, I would love to see a trap low first before a move up. Or if not, at least a very clear directional move. So far off this morning, this is your range. Right, nothing clear in here. It might look like a W, but it can very easily reject and come down. It can very easily get above and come and attack this liquidity up here. So nothing clear right now, just in a choppy range, because we are inside the previous day's action. All right, we're inside the previous day's action. So we've had some really nice trades this week. Not willing to force it. I'm just going to check in on that sentiment news. So inflation, 5-year inflation final was up by 0.1%. On the 5-year came in flat, exactly as expected on the 1-year. Conditions up 0.3%. Sentiment was 70.1, the forecast was 69.4. So consumer sentiment came in a little bit more positive. But like I said, that 5-year inflation was up. The inflation data this morning, we ticked up again in inflation. It was a small tick up, but it was a tick up, okay? That does not bode well. If we start to tick up on inflation while we are cutting rates, that is a recipe for disaster, okay? They put rates up to try and taper inflation. If inflation starts going up, they will not be able to cut rates. So we just have to see what the market will want to do here. Lots of mixed signals. But consumer spending was up today, which is a good sign. We had that read at 8:30 this morning, the same time as that inflation data. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Bart. Good morning, Radar. Good morning, Marek. I would much rather see upside moves today. I've made that very, very clear. Ideally with a trap. Would have much rather seen this low get taken, trap into the higher time frame algo and go, but maybe we don't get it. This is looking like some decent volume coming into the market for the first time today. There was a seller up at 20,500. He's still there. He's reduced his lot size a little bit. He's an iceberg. It's one order of 90 contracts. This is a good push upside now. Morning, DJ. So can we get a drive up now for the huge move all the way up here back to the high box and supply of yesterday, or at least the 61 fib? That 61 fib is 20,405, and the golden pockets all the way up to 20,465, where we have supply starting on an hourly chart from, let's just call it 450 up to 540. As you can see, continuation of choppy action here. All right, it will need to build liquidity. I'm not in any trades right now. Looking across the board, VIX filled its gap before coming back inside, okay? So we have to see if it respects its structure it created this morning at 1530 for a move up, or if it can flush that 1520 level that we've been talking about for the whole week. I'm really not expecting much today. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not expecting much today because we've opened inside of yesterday's range. If they're not able to cut rates, should we look out for the 5,800 mark? I mean, they won't talk about a rate cut again for another month and a bit. That 5,800 mark will be key today, regardless. All right, it's a key level. So on a higher time frame, it's the same kind of level as, is the market going to hold and get back above this and use this liquidity, all right, to get back above for a drive in? It would be partials here, breakout, hold, partials above. Failure here, rotational day, back down inside. Days like this, go to the higher time frames, just mark out the key levels, like where did we find buyers and where did we find sellers. If you are in the mid of that range dancing, it's going to be very hard to get a good trade, all right, because your longs you want down here, and ideally you want some form of trap. It doesn't need to be a trap off the higher time frame, it can be a trap off a lower time frame. If it starts to look like it's going to roll over, okay, these are low hanging fruit, all right, it might come right down and take these, and then we have to see what the reaction is. I honestly have very little bias today, all right? Even if I remove this session volume profile, we are just dancing inside of range. I would call this higher high, higher low, higher high, potentially a higher low to move back up. But again, this is your channel, all right? If the H1 wants to be nasty and come and clean these up, it can do so. I would much rather see upside, all right? I would much rather see upside. I'd love to finish the day up here. I think it sets up for a good week next week. Yes, that's the 1 hour chart, Miss Goody, 1 hour chart. You will notice we are trying to base at VWAP and at the London high. My other concern is you had Asia. London swept the bottom side of Asia. New York has swept London and Asia high and is now trading inside overnight range, London and Asia range. Not good conditions when you see that. All right, so to make that clear, on this 5-minute chart, you have the Asia range. We pushed up, swept Asia, or came through Asia just before London opened. At London Open, we came down, took Asia low. We consolidated into 830. We came out and took out all the stops up here, and now we're trading back inside overnight range. Here's your overnight range. right? And at the moment we're trading back inside. So the question is, can it base here and create a flag to go higher, or is this going to fail? And is this your first bounce to go lower? All right, lots of questions here. Not easy because you have a lack of multi-time frame alignment. All right, whenever you have a lack of multi-time frame alignment, you will get chop like this because you have different time frame traders fighting for different positions. All right. What's up, Fig? Hopefully, I think you closed the day green in the end, or you got out break even from what I remember. Matthew McConaughey has entered the building. So hopefully that's sort of clear. All right, I can be as clear as I can be. I'm not in anything. I have no bias right now. I'm waiting. I'm simply waiting for the market to choose what it wants to do. There's nothing in here. Ask yourself, what is the trade that you would have taken in here? All right, structure-wise, maybe you took this off the open for the move down, but from this point, we're just in chop. All right, this is basically a box of chop. All right, this is where people are going to get frustrated, blow their accounts, add at the wrong places, and just get whipped out. Just wait, guys. Just wait. The market will present something if it's ready. Your bias is bearish until 11, but we already pulled back and you got your low hanging fruit. Well, there you go. So I'm guessing if you got your bearish move, you were looking for that data low and beyond that into VWAP. One thing I noticed today, the first time I've seen it in a long time, Ninja's data low, 830 print low, was 10 points lower than it was on TradingView. I do not like it when I see stuff like that. There's absolutely no reason for that to be a 10-point difference, okay? Because CME data is the one data provider. All data should be exactly the same. So always a bit spooky when you see that. Fig break even yesterday, going to be tough trading today with the girlfriend yelling in my ear. Well, maybe that is a good sign not to take a trade, eh? Maybe it's a good sign. You got break even yesterday after fighting back. Maybe just take a rest day. Just watch the market. Don't put any of your capital at risk. Enjoy your weekend, mentally reset, come back Monday feeling fresh. Everyone on stream, make sure you've gone through your checklist today. Did you sleep enough? Have you had food? Have you had water? Have you had your coffee? Are you feeling emotionally okay? Have you shown gratitude? Are you in a good mental place right now? If not, consider taking the day off. Consider just watching. Maybe you just want to play sim. Right? Don't be forcing stuff. If you are not feeling physically and mentally up to trading today, do not force it. All right? This is not like a normal 9 to 5 where you need to show up every single day and do as your boss says. You are your own boss, so you need to check in with yourself. Fridays, as people will know in my room, guys that have traded with me for years and years, like Coop, we do not love Fridays. All right? We go risk off on Fridays. It has to really encourage us to take a very high probability trade for us to get involved, because the worst thing you can do is take a bad trade and end the week red, because then you have to live with that trade all weekend. All right, that is the worst thing you can do. There's nothing worse than living with a bad trade through Saturday and Sunday. It can ruin your weekend. So stick to the process today. You have divergence here right now, all right? ES is looking like it wants to move higher. Amazon, Meta, and Nvidia all weak on the market. Tesla green, Google green, Microsoft green, Apple green. The bonds are all down, all right? Short-term and higher-term bonds, 30-year, 10-year, 5-year, 1-year are all negative. Looking across the board, yeah. Relative strength in the SPY, in the YM. How's the Russell doing? Russell's looking good as well, green on the day. I am going to have to go and make my morning coffee in a moment and get a drink. Very, very lackluster action here. I do not like all these stops down here, all right? Ideally, the market comes and at least cleans this up. I don't care if it wants to go lower or go higher, but I don't like low hanging stops like this. Very obvious levels of liquidity. But you have divergence, all right? ES is trying to break out on a flag. If you look at the 10-minute on ES, it is attempting to make a flag push or an inverted head and shoulder push on the 10-minute chart. All right, it's held VWAP, it's held previous day close. Say, or is it previous day close? Yeah, previous day close. Held previous day close on ES. It's looking much more bullish than the NQ is right now. I think we come and clean this up. There we go. I want to see this just snap. Not that I'm in it, but I think once we snap, we might get some better directional trades. There we go. So that's cleaning up all the stops for us, coming into the higher time frame algorithm. So beyond this, can we come into the midpoint of London? We have very obvious stops at 280. And through 280, we can come down to the low of London, which would be just get this right, 236-ish, 235. All right, so soak off this level for now. There are a ton of stops, though, like I talked about, in the midpoint of London at 280. So nice to see a reaction there. ES came back, tagged VWAP, soaked off VWAP. We tagged the higher time frame algo. For now, soak off the algo. Nothing to say that we need to be going long, is there? Nothing yet saying we need to be going long. This was effectively the box. This is your breakout of the box. Are we going to reject this as supply for continuation, or are we going to trade back inside, chop, and then maybe go later in the day? There's a nice clear out of those stop levels. Really, really good to see. All right. Now, if I want to go long, I at least know that we've washed one side out the market. So I know all the buyers are out the market. So if smart money's deciding it wants to go long down here, it has a better chance if it reclaims. Only if it reclaims. Looks like the trend line on the 15-minute wait to be broken. It depends where you're doing that from. Are you doing it from like 4 a.m., 4:15 a.m.? We've just broken that to the downside. But for me, we're just trading inside range. Zoom out on that 15-minute. Look at the Asia-London range. We're just trading inside. So NQ back to flow zone test, back to VWAP test. This is very typical of days where it needs to build liquidity. All right, it's going to go between the lower time frame algo, higher time frame algo, build liquidity, chop, 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 and eventually it will pick a direction. This is why we are in liquidity build. Look at the top right. It will be in a liquidity build until there's a clear directional move. My VWAP for ES is at 809-ish. Mine isn't. I'm looking at an M10, but it's at about 806.75 is what I'm seeing. Good morning, Scott. Good to see you. Late in, Michael. No worries about being late in today. You've missed absolutely nothing. Exister, good morning. Look, all these regular faces turning up. Good morning. Yeah, well, that's my team. Well, at least until next year. Well, and when I'll have to move to Ferrari with Lewis, which will be interesting. So I follow the driver rather than the team. Definitely have a soft spot for Mercedes. But George is just not my guy. Even though I'm British, he's not my guy. Sad to see Danny Ricciardo step down. We'll definitely miss him. F1 will miss him. My next door neighbour actually is head of marketing for Richard Mille, and they do a lot of the sponsorship. And she was telling me that when he had that year off, when he got dropped before he got moved back to RB, the interest in F1 from like the debenture tickets and sponsorships diminished massively because everyone loves having Danny Ricciardo come and speak at their dinners. So I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him in F1 in some kind of role. For any of you that follow it and care, probably not many of you, but I do love Formula One. Formula One, rugby and football. That would be my sports. Master of Essence, did Topstep fix their VWAP? I doubt they fixed their VWAP. I had shouted at them, as had many other people, for a long time. If you zoom out and zoom in the charts, it moves. Same with the EMAs. It's absolutely terrible. The best thing you can do is use an anchored VWAP if you're trading on Topstep X. Just anchor it from, do one from midnight and one from the 9:30 open. That's probably the best thing you can do. Why they haven't coded their systems properly over at Topstep X is absolutely beyond me. very hard to drive those cars. Yeah, I've got absolutely no chance. I know that. I remember watching Top Gear years ago with Richard Hammond tried to do it and he couldn't get the car started. Where's the McLarens getting their speed? I think they're cheating. I don't think they're cheating. I think, like all these teams, they're just probably pushing the limits. They've probably got a double diffuser somewhere that the other teams haven't got. It's normally something like that. They've got good drivers, and you know, Red Bull just moaning because they've had it their way for so long. They're not used to being in a battle anymore. I think this season's the best season we've had for so long in F1, which is great. So ES looking much more bullish than the NQ. Look at that divergence. ES looking really good. Off VWAP, hasn't even felt the need to come and test 5800. Definitely has relative strength while the Qs are going lower. So now you've got 4 of the Mag 7 now red on the day. Nvidia red, Meta red, Amazon red, and Microsoft red. All right, the only things holding the market up right now is Tesla's up 0.3%, Google's up 1.1%, and Apple's up 0.6% on the day. The high time frame algo, everything on here is part of the flow zone suite. All right, so it all comes in here. So if I turn that off, you get nothing. All right, this is a 5-day moving average and a VWAP. All right, so it's all inside the flow zone suite, which comes free when you do the course. All right, you get it for free. It's not a paid subscription or anything like that. It's just for my students because I teach them how to use it in the course. It looks like we are rolling over here, coming and testing this. A snap of this could mean a snap of the value area, and maybe we come and test those lows. All right. Very tricky to take this when you've got such big divergence with the ES. The low-hanging fruit now would be this trade all the way back into this low of day. Remember, this is a double bottom all the way down here. You'd need to respect this previous day open, but this would be your double bottom. You have a 5-day moving average there as well. This is where we found buyers yesterday. I don't love that double bottom down there. I said it in chat before the open. Seems like a very probable area that the market could go and run if it wanted to. And we are just dripping down, right? There's no like big move down. This is chop, 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 chop. Finally a break. Here's maybe a retest. Drip down to high time frame. There's nothing here, you know, with really strong momentum and volume right now. And that's because we are trading inside and because you have divergence. All right, so VIX is not making new highs while the NQ is trying to make new lows. ES is attempting to push up towards its highs. So this is very typical of a day that I'm not interested in trading in. It is a good chance we will not get a trade together on stream today if it's going to continue to do this. I want to see a very, very clear, obvious setup where I can have good risk reward. I want big candles, right? Big displacement candles down where we can get a big retest, get short, tight risk reward for break of structure down, all the same the other way around. I do not want this because this is very easy to get trapped in, especially with divergence. All right, so make sure you're looking at the other markets. It will give you clues on what's happening. ES right now is attempting to break out of high of day. That's how weak the NQ is. ES is right up here attempting to break high of day. No worries, Miss Goody. No worries. So I'll probably stop the YouTube sale towards the end of year. We'll probably have to reprice for next year a few things. So this is probably the best deal you're going to get for the next month or so. It will never be this cheap again. So we've got 10 minutes or 8 minutes until the initial balance. So maybe from there we get an initial balance play. ES having an attempt at a breakout right now while we're coming up to VWAP. Really, really tough action to have conviction here for a good trade. The Qs are definitely weak though. What happened to SMCI today? Did that recover? Did they get rid of that bad news? Let me just check. They did. That's a really good recovery. Okay, so that potentially can help tech. So any of you that weren't following, SMCI was getting investigated for fraud. I read this morning a headline saying that that was debunked and it was no longer being investigated for fraud or something. So potentially that was someone inside with a big short position saying all that. I'd have to read into it more, but it would not surprise me. Yeah, Coop, yeah. Apparently, people were saying there was an article came out yesterday saying they're going to be investigated for fraud, which was basically why the market got heavy yesterday. Once SMCI dropped, then it became very hard for Nvidia and AMD and anything chip related to sustain its gains. Always a bit iffy, isn't it, when the market does a big pullback like that on an H1 based on some news, which the next day we're told is not true. You know, it would be like, what would that be like? Be like Nancy Pelosi selling all her Visa, and then the next week they came out saying Visa's being investigated, which it was, and then I wouldn't be surprised to hear that she's rebought it all and that they throw the investigation case out. You know, it's just so crooked. Market internals are bullish. Yeah, ticks up, adds up. Yeah, I really don't care too much for market internals, I'm going to be honest. I look at the end of the day to see what the previous day did, but intraday, I don't use it for any edge. So double top here on the ES, 817. Breakout of there, you have upside potential. Okay, upside potential, supply starts, I guess at 19, but really better off at like 23 all the way up to 30, okay? And that would be the equivalent of the red box for us on the NQ, way up here. So that shows you the relative weakness, right? NQ lagging by about 200 points equivalently. Or at least 100 points too high of day with 100 points room for upside. That my amazing wife just came and bought me a coffee off camera. Just what I needed. So if ES can get going, all right, I'm going to draw supply in on ES because I don't want to get to a point where I try and take a long on NQ and ES is coming straight into supply. This is what's going to be tricky. All right, new high day, ES now. NQ still weak. If the ES starts taking out its all-time highs, I would really expect the NQ to get going. Wives are great. Yeah, wives are amazing. I'm very blessed and lucky. 10 for 1 stock split on SMCI. Well, they didn't announce it, did they? Everyone was waiting for it and they didn't do it. Have they got a date in that I'm not aware of? I think they need to do it. If they want any retail involved, they've got to do that 10 to 1 stock split. No one's buying it. No retail's buying it. October 1st, oh, so they have got it in. I didn't think they put it in. Amazing. I know they were looking for one on Micron as well, and there was no split. In the earnings the other day, they said no split, I think. I read. So still, look at this. This is really tricky, all right? This is a perfect example of a shit day. Markets in range, bouncing between VWAP and higher time frame algo. It is holding flow zones down, but it is pretty gross action. And the ES is at high of day, and it's approaching its all-time high. Completely different charts, all right? Completely different charts. If ES rejects supply up here, you need to be careful, because then maybe we get a flush on the NQ, but this is a bullish push. Look at the M10. It was just a very clean flag on the ES. I can show you. Let's get a new chart up so it's really simple. Maybe just do it on here. I want to go to a 10-minute chart. This is about as clean as you can get. All right, holding flow zones, soaking off VWAP. This was a push-pull, nice entry into supply now. Really, really clean. and instead we get dealt absolute shite. But that's what happens sometimes. We can't force it. Cannot force it. It is because the Mag 7 is weak. 4 of the Mag 7 are red on the day. If the Mag 7 can't push, then the NQ is going to be weak. So I'd imagine energy's up and banks are probably, maybe Visa's recovered a bit today, something like that, which is helping their SPX, SPY index push, which is helping the ES move higher. They announced it early August. Oh, I must have missed that. Thank you for letting me know. Appreciate it. Ryan, you didn't miss anything? You didn't miss anything? Beautiful flag. Yeah, Scott, really nice flag on the ES. All right, so if ES gets going, we can maybe think about this liquidity. But like I said, it's tricky because of all this chop. All right, so bigger picture would be this, but it's going to be hard to get through this. I would much rather, I've said it all day, I'd much rather be long biased for a move up, but ES is making it hard. All right, maybe now they're going to turn the boosters on. ES now approaching supply. Very, very tricky, but maybe we can use some liquidity soon. Rejection there so far on ES, all right, just above that 20 level. I think I said it was 21.50 into 22. That's basically the bottom side of supply on the ES. So if this is just a retest on the ES to go lower, this is what I'm worried about, which is why I'm not taking a long until it's very clear. Like I just said about 2 minutes ago, if ES rejects supply and we have relative weakness in the Qs, we will roll. We will roll down lower. Yeah, exactly, Scott, exactly. When you get a bullish move with the inside bar, it's basically like a mid candle. You know they've got their stops above it, and you can just use that liquidity and stop run to just inject and for a big move higher. Exactly that. It's exactly how, I don't know if you ever played small caps, it's exactly how I used to play a T+2 scenario on small caps on a higher time frame, on like a daily bar. There's your weakness. So clear rejection there on ES. Is it going to base at the previous high of day? Or are we going to roll here? I'm still in nothing, all right? I'm in absolute nothing. There's nothing here telling me it really wants to go yet. It looked like it was setting up, but it couldn't hold anything, so I'm not in a trade. The reason I'm looking over here is this is where my ES screen is. All right, so over here I have ES, VIX, QQQ, DXY, and all my tickers. And here I have NQ 1 minute, 5 minute, hourly, daily. And then in front of me I have a line chart and a 15-minute chart and what I execute off. All right, so quite a few charts. So when you see me looking around, it's because I'm checking everything else. Exactly, Scott, the supply block, the order block, yeah, exactly that. You now are inside initial balance, right? So IB has been set now. You'll see the IB low, IB high. We left the high of the day up here and traded down to the IB low. This will not be easy action in this morning session. I can tell you that right now. If you haven't worked that out already, it is very choppy. So hopefully, if anything, I've saved you from getting your face absolutely ripped off or dumped on while we just wait. Notice the deep pullback, right? The deep pullback held on that drive up. The best pushes on these, right, will be when the flow zones get above the deep pullback and they start supporting price action. That will take time to develop. And right now, in this push-pull scenario, we've basically got a 50 odd point range of push pull, building liquidity. It's really hard to time this. Like I'm watching ES on a 10-minute chart. Rejected supply, it's coming back to previous high of day. The question now is, does it hold previous high of day? If it doesn't, and it starts to roll over, think about what that looks like. It's effectively going to create left shoulder, head on the push to supply, and then could create right shoulder for a snap down. That snap would need to be underneath VWAP, underneath those lows, and then it's going to come right back to that 5-day moving average. These are all ifs, okay? If and or scenarios. Don't really like that top line. I'm going to not put that in. All right, so holding initial balance low for now. We need to think about initial balance rules now. Are we going to have a day where we trend? Right, so if we're going to do a auction underneath the IBL, are we going to come and take out the London low and that double bottom we put in at low of day yesterday? Or are we going to have a failed auction? All right, maybe we dip just under it and trend back up and view up. Then maybe we come back and maybe we get above VWAP and maybe we go to the IB high, maybe we don't. But that would just be a typical auction rotational type move type day, which would be very typical for an inside day on a daily. So I'm just catching up with the chat. DiCaprio, Friday is make money early and finish the week. That is very true, DiCaprio. That's what I love to do. Unfortunately, I've not made money early today. I might make no money today, but that's fine. All right, don't judge yourself on one day. I will judge myself based on process. Is there a clear setup for me that I like here? No, there's not a clear setup. Even to the downside, there's not a clear setup. Not when ES is pushing highs. So no clear setup, my process means no trade. That means good trading, even if I finish the day flat. That's good trading. That means I had 4 green days this week and 1 flat day. I'm absolutely fine with that. Will not trade price action. That is crap, all right? I will only trade good price action. And if I miss stuff, like yesterday, I missed the overnight trade up, I missed the move down, so be it. I'll sit and wait. If it presents an opportunity, I'll take it. If it doesn't, who cares? Having this chat with guys in my room last night, you got your whole career to make money. You don't need to make money every day. All right, so here's the break of the IBL. Look at ES, very big rejection now, trading back inside of range. This is what's going to make it hard. What is MOMO? Momentum, Jake. Momentum, short for momentum. So Momo cloud is a momentum cloud. All right, so this is my flow zone momentum cloud. This is what the momentum is in the market. It's in a sell momentum. When it wants to get above this momentum, it will test the deep pullback. There are some traders who will just be trading these deep pullback moves for continuation in terms of directional moves. So they'll just trade these, okay? They are based on moving averages with Fibonacci's, all right? They're Fibonacci sequences on moving averages. Here's a drive up. So are we in a failed auction now? Is this going to be a failed auction? Is this the trap? Look at the trend line, how we soaked, but can we pivot? Can we pivot? Where's the pivot? It's up here. It's gross action to get up there. The issue I have is to come and take out this level is considerably higher. What if that's just a sweep then? What am I waiting for? Am I entering here long inside this crap range? It's not ideal. It's really not ideal. Scott, love how you have all this organized in your head. Such awesome chartist. What do you mean? Just in terms of understanding what I'm looking at on my screens, or? I think finding a good setup, finding a system that you like is key. Like I know my system like the back of my hand. So I know when I want to go long, I know when I want to go short. Like yesterday, I took those 2 longs. One of them was very quick. Once I saw the market moving in a direction I was interested in, I took it. It's because I'm looking at everything all the time. I know what my cue will be to take a trade. Okay, again, ES soaking off that M10 where it last had that down close candle and the M10 flow zones. It really wants to go and break out here, the ES. It feels like it wants to go and have another go at high of day and into that supply block. I would love to see this get going off a failed auction now. It's going to be really tricky to take it and find a good area. Hector, good morning, my friend. I hope you're good. Hope the family's all well. Do you have any more cruises coming up, Hector? Any more holidays? I know you took some time to travel earlier this year. You do? Nice. Very nice. Just a heads up, I will probably be taking a week off in October, the week leading up to Thanksgiving. I'll try and get on stream a bit, but I'm going to be in Palm Springs for a week, so I don't know the internet, how good it's going to be there. And I don't think I can take my whole system. Yes, I called out earlier, the YM is up, yeah, 355 points. RTY is up 32. Yeah, YM looks good. Rotation into YM. Same with the RTY. Gold having a slight pullback day. Dollar back towards its lows. All right, are we going to get going here? Come on. Very tempted to enter there, but it goes against the flow zones, so I'm trying not to do that. I want it to prove to me, but it's going to be tricky here, right? If it can base above here, maybe it has a run up to here, but the RR on these trades is a bit shit. It's not very good. We should have been trading the ES today. That's what we should have been doing. Nvidia just got absolutely hammered, coming back into 120. Right now down 2.5% on the day. That happened pretty quick. Flow Zone Cruise 2025. I'm down for that. Definitely down for that. Are you East Coast, Hector? Is that right? Are you Miami, Florida based? Have I got that right? Yeah, it's slower, but it's much cleaner. It's been so much cleaner for a while. I seem to go back and forth, and recently I've just said I'm just going to stick where I am, but it has been cleaner. The moves, you know, breaking out into all-time highs has been really good. It's not so reliant on the Mag 7. 10-minute chart on it, as I know you and me went over months ago, looks very good. Here we go then. Into VWAP, so maybe that was the hold and pivot there. It's messy, messy, messy. Really tricky because we have a failed auction. All right, you have a failed auction on this trend line low. This was a soft pivot. I want to see how it reacts here now for maybe a drive up into here. It is tricky, guys. I'm just going to be real honest with you. This is very tricky action. Yeah, me neither. I've never been on one. Please trade the ES, less whiplash. There is less whiplash. Harder to scalp. Easier to sit in for longer moves. So testing VWAP. Testing the lower time frame algo, testing the deep pullback. All right, not through anything yet, but it is looking better. ES not at the highs though. It's trying to base over, what should we call this level? I'd say over 15, 17 to 15. If ES can hold that, it has the potential to move up. Scott, a failed auction? Yes, of course it can. So in trend days, right, trend days, we'll use the initial balance high and the initial balance low. Good auctions for trend days will reject the IB low and move continuation lower. That would be your trend day right here. A failed auction would be when we come beneath the initial balance low and come straight back in. Now this can happen over a period of time. It might take 20 minutes and then come in. This is where sellers get trapped underneath the low because they're looking for a move of continuation and it doesn't happen. When you get a failed auction, right, the first point from this long, some people will have traded this long for the failed auction. their first cover point or their first sell is VWAP and then IB high. The opposite for IB high, right? If we were basing up here today and we got out, a trend day would be a breakout, retest and go. A failed auction would be this, trade inside, reject, come back down towards VWAP. Right, so that it's auction theory based on initial balances. Exister, ending the day green. Have a great weekend. Well done, my friend. Yes, effectively a trap, Scott, based on initial balances. Effectively a trap. It's not necessarily that they're setting the trap, it's that you got to understand some traders just play initial balances. So once they get a break of here, they are instantly looking for a sell continuation. So when it doesn't happen, they get stuck. A bit like, think of the initial balance trade like an opening range break trade, right? So if you're an opening range break trader and you're just trading a breakout short rather than a break and retest, you got stuck, yeah? Does that make sense? No worries. Just got tinnitus in my ear, just started. One of the pleasures of being a DJ for 15 years. Oh my gosh. So ES still dancing at that level. I'm very concerned that ES does it head and shoulders and rotates lower here, even though it looks good. Scott, I've had constant tinnitus for 10 years, my friend. I've been on steroids for it. I was told to stop doing music production and DJing. I've seen specialists. I've gone deaf and lost part hearing, so I had to learn to mix in my other ear. So I've had all sorts of problems. You're looking for a short fig. Well, I don't hate it. At least you're not fighting. I'm just concerned that this can be the bull flag to go, but we're just trapping. It's just trapping inside liquidity. It's really not directional at all. If you zoom out, let's go to a higher time frame, just see where we're at. H1 is just inside the range that we've created from the low of yesterday into, let's say, 7 o'clock last night and then 8 o'clock this morning. We're just inside all this range and we're inside the previous day range. And then on an M5, if we zoom out, this one here, okay, we are inside Asia and London. Right, we're inside, so we've effectively failed to break out there. Maybe it wants to come down and sweep this. If it sweeps this, I would hazard a guess it's going to want to take out that double bottom we put in yesterday, which is low-hanging fruit. I would felt okay about thinking about shorts today to do that if ES was going to join us, but it hasn't. Dizziness, vertigo, not too much, very rarely get that. Beauty of Serato, yeah, I never really used Serato. My business partner used to use it. I did use Tractor for a bit, way back in the day. Serato is always good for a mix of all DJs, you know, DJs that moved from house to R&B to hip hop and pop and all this stuff, really good for that. But the whole, I mean, I know it's better now with the CDJs and you can just plug it in, but when you used to have that rain box and I had to pull out all the wires and do it, used to really annoy me if I was playing off USBs and the guy before me was playing on Tractor or Serato. They'd take like 10 minutes to do a changeover and ruin all the lines. Okay, here we go. So potentially a flag here, all right? Potentially a flag here. If the ES can get going, we're still in mid-range, but it is looking better. I'm very tempted to take this. Trying to sit on my hands here and let it develop. All right, if it's going to go, it's got to prove to me it's going to go. Oh, is that right, Scott? I never knew that. Very interesting. Is that a proven science thing? So caffeine can trigger tinnitus and vertigo. Interesting. So I'm not in this. I'm just being honest. I'm not in this. I was very, very tempted to take this flag break here. But really, I really want to see it start to support it and the flow zones start to come up. Right, I'm concerned that we're going to sweep to come lower and keep doing crap moves like this. And I just don't want to get chopped up on a Friday. All right, I'd rather make no money than take an unnecessary loss and get chopped up on a Friday. Have any of you tried mushroom coffee? I have a bag of it in my cupboard next door, but I haven't tried it yet. I think I've got, is it called Rise? I think that's what I've got. I was going to give that a go. Yeah, this is the problem. ES is failing that level again. This is why I was very cautious and didn't end up taking that. Yeah, did it help, Scott? Did you get on with it? It's supposed to be really good for like gut support and mental health and all these things. No. No, not even a placebo. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, it's so funny. I love the bluntness. Ryan, you haven't, but it seems really good. Yeah, that's what I was thinking until Scott said exactly how it is. The bisque, you use it, is not better than usual coffee. All right, what a waste of money that bag is I've got next door. It's not cheap either because it's subscription based, most of it. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with that. I'm a big coffee drinker. I haven't had issues with vertigo or tinnitus. Mudwater, yeah. Mudwater, yeah. I've seen that one as well. There's another one as well in the, is it Dosage or something? That's another one, I think. Good. It's a good thing to get into. Glenn, I was trying to get your uncle into it. I don't know if he's watching. I wanted him to start selling it into Costco. Ryan, sorry, your uncle Glenn. Fig, I like putting Fireball in a black coffee. What's Fireball? Ashwagandha, yeah, ashwaganda's good. If you're taking a lot of ashwagandha, Ryan, talk to David about it, the trainer in chat. He's very knowledgeable about it because it does have some downside effects. But it's very, very good for stress and muscles. So what's Fireball, Fig? What's Fireball? Let me know. I have no idea what that is. It's a hard liquor. Oh. Maybe that's why you fight the market all the time, mate. If you're waking up and you're drunk. I'm just playing with you. I'm not being serious. Cinnamon whiskey. It sounds good. Sounds good. I'm really sorry, team. There's no trade here for me yet. I'm really sorry. It's probably boring the hell out of you, a lot of you who are coming here to try and get a trade, but I don't want to call something that's terrible. I want to give you good trades, and there's nothing here yet. I'm going to have to try a Fireball this weekend. Is Fireball like one of those crappy little drinks that you'd have as a kid? Yeah, when you start drinking, you'd go to like a bad bar, or is it like it's a legit good drink? Because in England we'd have things like, I'm trying to think what it'd be. Ryan, you can probably help me out, although you're not a big drinker. WKD and stuff like that. Fig, that's amazing. So anyone that's missed it, Fig says he used to drink one every morning during his loan officer days at JP Morgan Chase. 35% alcohol and it's spicy. Scott, yeah, you tried the long and got stopped out. I mean, I don't blame you for trying it there. It was looking good. I had my fingers on it and I was like, I can't do it until it really proves. I've got to wait. But we are just bouncing. See this move, this is very typical. VWAP, IB low. VWAP, liquidity, back towards IB low, higher time frame, probably comes back to VWAP. If we get over this now and it trapped enough shorts, maybe it has the energy to come up here. But really it can keep rejecting here and come back to the lows. And all the time it's not clear. Let's just remind ourselves on a 5-minute chart. All right, it looks like a sweep of this so far. We'd need this to do this, right? Breakout, then hold, then we can come and attack some of these levels. And until it does that, I've just got to think that that is a sweep. ES is rejecting. This can take the low and we can go lower. And that's why I'm concerned. But nothing is high probability. The low that we can attack is right the way down here. Right, we did a double bottom here, basically. Oh, right, so on the Qs, it can come right down to here. This is where we found demand, but we left a wick there. It could come and take it and do this. If it does this, I doubt it does it today on a Friday. It might just do one directional move down. But that's what I'd be concerned about. All right, so on a higher time frame, you would see that on the M5. Let's try and move across. All right, this level right here, right underneath Asia. Oh, let's just put this in a horizontal line. This level right here. And we might be back into some nasty kind of thing like this. All right, and we hate this pattern, don't we? Because it's going to expand. It's already swept the upside. Maybe it sweeps the downside and closes mid-range. Gross, just gross. Not something I like trading any day of the week, especially a Friday. Catching up with the chat here. Goldschlanger, yeah, I used to quite like that back in the day. I used to think I was like bougie drinking that. Ryan, you think they're advertising it on Spotify for Ireland? Well, maybe. Jaeger, yeah. Jaeger's not my drink. I mean, I like Jaeger when it's done properly. I don't know how you guys drink it here. Most of the bars in England serve it just off the shelf. But if you go to like Austria or France on like a skiing holiday and they have it freezing cold, it's actually really nice. I actually really like it then. Okay, so retest of IB low and holding. ES looks like it wants to do another 10-minute flag and go here. It is basing above, so it's making higher highs and higher lows on the M10. Peanut butter whiskey screwball. I've had that. I had that in Manhattan Beach last year. Really good. Very sweet though. Very, very sweet. Can only have one of those. Gonna wait for 11 o'clock an H1 candle and see if we can get a close outside the inside bar. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this current H1 candle is kind of gross. Look at the wicks on both sides of it. So if we go down to the higher time frame, all right, we've come down into this potential demand box, all right, and the higher time frame deep pullback flow zones. If it holds this, then maybe it closes, you know, we get a new candle up. If it's just going to trend down, it might want to take this liquidity and this liquidity. It's really nasty, guys. It's really, really nasty, this price action. Look how close everything is. Lower time frame algo, VWAP, deep pullback, momentum, higher time frame algo, all within, and the initial balance low, all within 40 points. That is gross. Absolutely gross. ES inside bar on an H1. Let me have a look. You mean the previous bar? So you're looking for a flag on that previous bar. So versus 15 and 13, like a pullback into that and an expansion. Is that what you're thinking? It's really tricky. Very, very tricky. Yeah, got you, got you, got you. Ryan used to drink Jaeger bombs on nights out in Dublin. So only got 3 minutes till that new H1 bar. So where this bar closes will matter. All right, we're right at point of control, all right, on an hourly. Right now, we are sitting right at current day point of control and pretty close to yesterday. Yesterday, double distribution day, and we are under that point of control. But there or thereabouts, you know, I'd say volume is based from 50 220. Like we said, it's just trapping. It's not pretty. This is not pretty action. We had a feeling we were going to get this. It's not surprising though, is it? Look at the week. We traded up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday overnight. We pulled back Friday, we pulled back Thursday. That's still a good candle. Yes, it left a wick to the upside, but it's still closing above previous days' highs and closes, right? So it's still a good bullish candle. And those in the course, doing the course, look at your weekly model. Look at the weekly model. All right, it's another 2 weeks in a row where it's been validated. So we know where we are not going today as an extreme. Maybe new downside action here. All right, if it can build and run these. All right, this seems like what it's doing. It's very choppy, but it seems like it's trying to do this and is failing to get above. It will only do this if ES completes that flag and gets through supply. I'm not interested in taking a short here into IBL. Like, just because, think about risk reward, even if it's set up. What is your short here? Like, you're going to short into this block and risk, what, this high to try and get into the IB? Like 1.5? Like, it's not a high probability trade. And as you know, I'm always looking for big trades, not like 10, 20 points. Looking to see, like, can I hold a runner for 100 plus points? Is there something there that's going to offer it? If we pivot up, all right, if we pivot up, if this is tapering, and we pivot up, then we have potential for more room because supply is all the way up here. That's why I'd be more interested in that. If we break clearly underneath, again, I don't mind taking it if we're going to have a trend down day, because again, if we're going to come for low hanging fruits, then right, this is your double bottom, previous day low, this is 5 day, previous day open, then we have room, right? Then we have good RR where we can have tight risk for the move. But all the time we're dancing inside, I'd rather not be chopped up. How many streamers have you seen force it, get chopped up, give away good profits on the week, close the day bad, and you're frustrated because you might have followed them in? Like, it does look like it wants to roll here. Like, I'm not going to lie. It looks like it wants to roll because it's had 1, 2, 3 attempts at getting up. This looks like it wants to come and take this. We can extend this out. Maybe it comes and visits this low side of the range. And if it wants to snap all these. Maybe. But I want it to prove to me, if we're going to do that, it should be closing outside of the initial balance low. It should easily close outside the initial balance low if we're going to do that move. The problem with that then is, if you look at the H1, this is why it's important, we would be trying to take that move near this demand zone. It's really tricky. You have got multiple time frame traders trading different positions. So if I'm short here into here, I know that traders playing off hourly candles, they might be long here. Gets very, very hard. The best trades happen when, like we always talk about, everything's in alignment. So if people trading the 4 hour and the hourly and the M15 and the M5 and anything under that are all going the same way, it's way easier, way easier. And those are the trades that I'm looking for. Those are the trades where I make good money. Even that counter trend trade yesterday that we took, that was alignment of M1, M5, M15 and H1. Right, it wasn't alignment on anything else, but it was alignment on those, and that's enough to get a 20 to 30 minute trade that offers 50 to 100 points. So 48 of you watching. My numbers are going up now. 50 are going up every single day. Thank you so much. I never thought they would be interested in me streaming, so I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Do me a favor, help the channel grow, all right? I'm here for free every day. There's tons of free education. If you want to do the course, you can, but there's tons and tons of free education on YouTube. I've made a note, I will do an educational video this weekend. So let me know what you want. This is what I'm thinking of doing, because this is what I keep getting questions on. Do you want a video on how to trade reversals, or would you prefer a video on how to trade flags, mainly lower time frame flags? What would you prefer? Let me know in the chat. Should probably do a poll, shouldn't I? But I don't even know how to do that. That's how inexperienced I am. Flag, okay? Flag, reversals. So you got 50-50. Look, I'll do one this week and one next week. So it looks like flag is winning right now. Okay, so I will do a video on flag this week, on how to trade flags, and I will do a video on reversals for the following weekend, all right? I will do both. Those of you doing the course, there are very detailed videos on both of those in the course you can go and watch. You can see a few of you talking about it there who definitely are in the course. You can just go and look at it there, but I will do some. So again, we are not breaking the IB low, all right? We're not breaking the IB low. We are still holding the M10 flow zones on the ES, right? That's always an indicator for me of potential more upside. It still looks like it's creating a flag on the M10. If that fails on the M10 on ES, again, we have that head and shoulder opportunity where it will use the liquidity. If it can't use it for upside and it gets stuck, I promise you it's going to use it for downside. It's not going to not use it at all. But it's looking completely different to this NQ chart, which is just looking gross. Persistence, that is fine, buddy. That is fine. All right, no problem at all. No one's forcing you to do it. There's tons and tons that I post on YouTube. I give away loads on YouTube, and obviously I'm here every single day. Well, Monday to Friday. Hit that like button. Yes, thank you, Labisk. Appreciate it. Hit that like button, guys. It really, really helps my stream. So if you want an indication that the market doesn't know what to do, look at the VIX. All right, it is completely stuck. All right, in a very small range inside of the initial balance. We have divergence across the markets. I would love to see upside, but it's not giving it. We have not got the market moving upside. We're just trading inside of overnight range, which is why we're sat here talking about lots of other stuff. Because there's nothing to do, so don't force it. Don't keep looking at every tick, forcing it. So ES back to test that 815 level. What I'd be concerned about is if ES comes deep back towards VWAP, all right, it's that head and shoulder type look that it might do. With the head being that drive up, it did into supply, into 20. So if it came back to, let's say, 808 or below, and then did especially if it's a big flush candle and it left some imbalance and then it pushed back in towards 815, potentially for that right shoulder, a snap of trend and a wash down, and then it might reapproach 805, and we know the key level, right? 800 is the key level on ES. Psychological level, it was key for that breakout on the week. If we close over that today on the week, it's going to look pretty good. It's going to look pretty good from a weekly point of view. We're still on NQ, we're still above that 5-day. All right, so remember yesterday we pulled back towards that 5-day. For those who didn't see it, the ES tagged the 5-day. All right, those who don't believe in moving averages, because you learnt with someone else, the low of day was this blue line. That is the 5-day moving average. It tagged it yesterday before moving away. That is a full mean reversion to 5-day and push away. That is a very typical trade. Learn to use the Bollinger Bands and the 5-day and 20-day SMA. It will really, really help you. Even if you are coming from learning stuff like SMC and ICT, I promise you these will help you. The narrative that these don't work is insane to me. All you have to do is look at a Bollinger Band and you will know the maximum upside and the maximum downside from higher time frame point of views. It will not get above and below those levels. It will not get closed there, and it will not hang out above and below those levels. So when you see higher time frame traders and SMC and ICT traders calling for moves outside of those levels, you know they are likely to be wrong, because the institutions do not let the market go more than 2 standard deviations. They will not let it do it. If they do that and it happens too quickly, you are in danger of major, major issues in the market because they are not hedged for it. The only time you've had moves like that have been COVID type moves, okay? So here, IB low flush. Now, are we going to create a new low of day here? This is the, look at ES now. ES failed, all right? It's driving back down in. So if we're going to do low hanging fruit and we're going to get trend day down, these are the targets. All right, this one especially, that double bottom right here, there's going to be a ton of stops there. But it has to prove to me that it wants to trade lower. This is another failed auction. If they trap more shorts here, if we don't get this move, and they trap more shorts here and go inside, then we need to watch for this. But ES is looking much heavier now. I'm sorry they were taught like that. I mean, ICT actually teaches some great concepts. He doesn't own them all. He rebrands them and teaches some great concepts. But where it goes wrong is he creates all this mystery and bullshit around it, which creates this cult type being around it, and they then disregard loads of other concepts which could really, really help them. That's all it is. Got nothing bad to say about him or learning ICT or SMC. There's loads of good stuff there, but the disregard for really big principles like standard deviation principles. Standard deviation is how the market is built. If you want to know how the algos are really built on the market, they're built based on standard deviations. They're not built from a man living in the middle of nowhere who got abducted, right? So it's kind of that simple. But I think the good SMC ICT traders, they know all that. They're very, very aware of that. Right, Master and those guys, they're trading off standard deviations. But you want to see someone very good at trading standard deviations, you should check out Connor at Boiler Room Trading. He's very good on standard deviation trading. He's not a great teacher. No disrespect to him. He's very, very smart, but sometimes it can be hard to digest what he's saying. But he's very, very good with standard deviations. I don't even know if he teaches anymore, to be honest. And then you can look at guys like, try and think who's always posting about it. He's good friends with Anthony Crudelli. I will find it. Bear with me. The Pivot King, everything he does is based on effectively standard deviation on higher time frame with where he's looking for big buyers and sellers in the market, big iceberg orders. Fig, longest you've ever sat in front of the market without placing a trade. Well, I think that's a good thing. I mean, it is rolling over. Let's say it felt like it wanted to roll over here. We were in downside pressure. I just don't love the risk reward on stuff right now. I mean, even this move, like the retest of IB, barely would have offered 20 points with 10 points risk. I guess it's a 2R, but 20 points for me. I'm not looking for those trades. Where did I learn all this? All of what? Persistence? Sorry, because that probably came in the chat a while ago. All of what, my friend? What do you mean, all of how I trade in general? I've done millions of courses over the last decade. Loads and loads and loads of courses, if that's what you mean. And in other people's rooms, and we had a private room for a while when we were doing small caps with a few guys from SMB Capital, and we'd backtest everything. Still friends with a few of those guys. Guys like JJ Ryan, Laser Wolf, guys like that. If any of you traded small caps, I was in Morgan's room before he got called out and never knew. If any of you followed small caps, he was a massive fraudster that none of us knew about. So we had a private room with him, and he would always seem to get amazing trades on these Chinese tickers and pick the tops and bottoms. And it turned out he was photoshopping and got caught after about 6 years of doing it. It made a massive stir last year. So are we going to reject here? This is the question. Are we rejecting here to go lower? ES soaked off just in front of VWAP up again. Yeah, persistent. Just a lot of books, a lot of price action, a lot of courses. But honestly, the best thing you can do is just sit in front of the screens. Who was that? What, that faked? That got caught? It was a guy called Morgan Trades. He's not on social media anymore. He would have got a lot of death threats and stuff. He was a big trader, well, considered a big trader trading small caps. Used to say he was very good at tape reading. This is like alongside guys like Nate at Institution. What was it called? Underground? Investment Underground, is that right? Cody, all those guys. But yeah, turns out that he wasn't, and he was photoshopping stuff, unfortunately. So he was adding his arrows on his Trade Zero charts. We all thought he was absolutely killing it. There are a few traders like that that people are not sure about. There was another one called Jin who was making, honestly, like $250,000 every day for about half a year to a year, maybe longer. No one knew if he was cooking his, but I think he was actually legit. Big Malaysian trader. Nate, yeah, Nate's killer Coop. Nate is a legit killer trader, but Nate definitely is he gets knowledge before we know about it. I'm telling you, when these Chinese tickers fail and he's calling it out days before, he knows something that we don't, and it's not reading price action. There's no way. The amount of times he was calling for flush moments on scam tickers where no one was tracking it. But he's a great trader. I think my biggest trade I ever took was effectively an arbitrage trade, and I took it with what's his name, Eric Wood, one of Nate's friends. I was talking about it on Twitter. Razorback was trading it a little bit with me. It would have been on, I think it was on LI Motors, because they were dual listed, and I tweeted about it, and then got an inbox from him telling me to check out the dual listing in Hong Kong for the day that they might sell it, and I woke up to a massive gap down on a swing short on it, and it was easy to borrow as well. It wasn't even hard to borrow. So yeah, that was probably one of the best trades I had. All right, still going lower here. So the IB low is rejected. Probably should have stopped talking and taken that. Coming into previous day open here. These are the low hanging fruits. All right, right here. 1, 2. Why is it doing that? 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is a very obvious level here because this has a double bottom there where there will be lots of stops. Bottom of London is around 35. I'm in this good, Ryan. Yeah, I should have stopped talking and taken it. It's a very obvious trade. A rejection of IB low with flow zone, supporting downside action. All right, just stick with it if you're in it. It's looking good. ES is rolling over. If ES starts to close underneath VWAP, it's going to be very, very good. Probably should have stopped talking, but hey ho, we are where we are. Actually enjoying just hanging out for a day and not overly focused. Okay, so it's still looking good. Ryan, if you're going to take this, just be aware of, I know you're in it from here, just be aware of these levels. Make sure you are getting some cover points. Remember, on an hourly chart, you're coming into previous demand zones right here. If it starts to break beneath 35, I think it's a very high probability trade to come and take out 185. So stick with it if it can do that, because effectively this will become a bear flag and it will want to attack this. And then maybe we get a handle for a move lower. Otherwise, it can trap here and then trade inside. It very unlikely to come up anywhere near this today, given this move taking this amount of time. But it's looking very good for you now. Already took partial, good work at previous low. Yeah, lovely, dude. So you took partial at the breaker structure. You're doing amazing, man. For a guy who's never traded and you started working with me, what, 6 months ago? You're doing really, really good. So this is daily level. Remember this trend. Expect some people to start covering here. Ideally, you get a huge flush candle and it just starts coming through all of this and you can sit in this trade for a while. Great, great work. I didn't even need to call it out and you took it. That's very pleasing to see. Seeing students doing so well. It's amazing. So you're coming towards that Asia level low, all right? Here, it's Asia low. This is where they found buyers. Sorry, London low. This is where they found buyers in London. So you sweep that and you have the chance to move down for that double bottom we talked about. Here, sorry, put you on the wrong one. You want to complete this move and expand lower. Just in a drip down day. ES right at VWAP right now. Okay, ES is at VWAP. If you're just joining the stream, please hammer that like button. Hopefully some of you are in this short with Ryan. You have liquidity on the book at 40, all right? So they're going to try and get some covers off into 40. You do have an order of 77 contracts at 20,200. That would be a nice move in towards that previous day low, that double bottom. ES so far finding a little bounce on VWAP. But you know, now it might want to retrace a little bit to make that head and shoulders that we talked about on ES. If it couldn't hold that 15 range, then it was likely to do this move down to VWAP. Now I'm interested, does it reject 13, 14, 15 to make the right shoulder and then create a lower low and snap down underneath the IBL? Or is it going to find buyers at VWAP? All right, they're very, very different because ES is at VWAP inside the initial balance. NQ is below the IB low. So you still have major, major divergence on the markets. VIX is doing bugger all, right? VIX is pretty much flat right now. So just be cautious if we reclaim this, okay? If we reclaim this, you need to be cautious. This would still be a failed auction if we start getting above here. So you want it to stay heavy versus the initial balance low for continuation lower. Starting to open up now, the flow zones and the deep pullback and the lower time frame, it's starting to all open up for you. Yes, still on VWAP. VIX is making an interesting shape here. If it starts to break out on an M10 here, if it gets above that IB high, maybe it can run, I'm guessing that's the Newsweek high, yeah, up to 1570, let's call it. That will add good thesis for a move into here, if it can do that. Just checking the cues, making sure everything's aligned, which it is. Yeah, I think that double bottom looks like a high probability trade right now. I think this area here looks like a high probability trade right now. ES starting to get weak. So if you took that, Ryan, it's looking, well, I know you took it, it's looking very good. You probably took something like this for a partial, and then maybe you can get a runner down here. We'll offer you 6R. It's a good move. It's a new break of structure there, looking good into this daily level here to previous day open. If it slaps through previous day open through that downtrend line that we've got, you've got that 5-day moving average and the previous day low. All right, that's low hanging fruits for this move. Great trade, Ryan. Did anyone else take this? We talked about the retest if it stayed heavy, but I got busy talking about all sorts of other stuff clearly. And this is nice. Continuation. You just be looking for continuation into here. TP, TP, TP. All right. Nice. Oh, that's great. So Bart, you got it. Diary of a Futures Trader, you got it as well. Lovely. That's great. It's great to see some of you getting it. So you can see, if you're here with me on stream, even when I don't take stuff, I'm talking about the potential plays. We talked about IB low, trend underneath will be auctioned down. Reclaim IB low will be failed auction. Those are just the basic principles. So even if you got that, you should be, even if you took the break of here and not the retest, 70, you're still 20 points in the money, 25 points in the money. It's not a bad trade, even just to these levels, not a bad trade, even if you took it a bit late and you can hold a runner. I would like to think it's better than you're getting on some of the other channels, which are giving 5 points, 10 points. Scott, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but that's quite funny. Scott missed the trade because he locked himself out of his house paying his lawn care guys. That's amazing. So you're out of pocket now because you've missed a trade and you've had to pay someone, so you're down on the day. Yeah, still teeting around, all right? Did create an imbalance on the way down, which is what we wanted to see. On an M10, it's priced up. It's tapped the previous wick high. It's back at VWAP, all right? So for me, on this ES, I'm not zoomed in and checking everything, but it looks like it wants more downside. If the ES breaks that IB low, then the NQ can really get going to the downside. Yeah, Scott, looks that way. No big deal. No big deal. What's everyone's plans this weekend? Have you got anything good lined up this weekend? How are you going to relax? Make sure you relax. Don't overstudy. Don't stare at the screens too much. Right, make sure you get some time away from the screens. Do things that make you feel good. Whatever that is, whether it's playing sport, watching sport, going out with loved ones, basic things like walking the dog, make sure you do those things. If you're trading here every day, smoke a brisket. I mean, that sounds amazing. Zoo tomorrow with your girlfriends. Oh, girlfriend's family. I thought you said girlfriends then. I was plural. I was like, you're brave putting that up, Ryan. You're going to see Matt Rife. Amazing. Finishing the course early and then rewarding. Yeah, reward yourself for sure. Reward yourself for all the hard work you do. Really important. We all have good work-life balance. DJ, taking your son to watch the match at Old Trafford on Sunday. Who have United got then on Sunday? I haven't actually looked. Let's have a look. Who's your son's favourite player at the moment? Is it someone like Garnacho? I'm sure he's like the hot property over there. Tiki bar tomorrow for lunch, Stephen. Fig. I got 1,000 on Alabama over Georgia. Nice. Big game that. United Tottenham, isn't it? His favourite's Bruno. Oh, yeah. That's a big game. That's a big game. I think you actually look better than Tottenham right now. Looks like you found a little bit of a spark. Rashford looking a bit better after those goals in that cup game that you had. So, DJ, are you from Manchester? Do you live in Manchester? It's one of my favourite cities. Yeah, ES doesn't want to give up VWAP. You're right. It's just dangling there, isn't it? Nice. Yeah, I love Manchester, man. I used to work there a lot. I used to play Sankey's and Warehouse Project and a few other ones back in the day. Good times. I have a lot of fond memories in Manchester. And my old A&R when I was at Sony was in M People, Mike Pickering, and he used to play at the Hacienda. I don't know how old you are, but that was a big club back in the day. All right, so continuation lower here. Bear flag lower. These are your low-hanging fruits. All right, team? These are your low-hanging fruits for continuation lower. If ES is going to get weak here, you have a good trade setting up right here. ES looks like it really wants to roll here. All right, we're into higher time frame demand areas, so I'm very, very cautious here. Make sure you are taking profits when the market offers it to you. Liquidity still on the book at 40 and 35. I still think this can move all the way down here and take out this double bottom. If we're going to show weakness on ES, this seems like a very high probability area that it wants to come towards. There you go, it's starting to do this move. So into previous day open now. You need to see it get through previous day open. This is a big level on the daily. From here down to, let's call it 76. This is basically a back test of the breakout. What will be the key level on ES? Other than what we're looking at intraday for that IB low, all right, that 5,800 will be key on ES if it gets down there. The reaction there will be key. in and around that. Let's just call it as an area because you have the 5-day moving average not far beneath it as well. VIX trying to do that flag breakout we were talking about. It's not done it yet, but it's trying to do it. It is tricky here though. These plays are playing out nice for you, but it is tricky here because really when we're seeing these candles with downside momentum, how big is that? It's not actually that big. 20 points. Really you want to see a reprice and lower straight away. The fact that it's like dripping down is a little bit crap. Took another partial, moved your stop to the previous high. So now you're going to relax. Lovely work, Ryan. Lovely work. What was your entry there, Ryan? Did you take the retest of the IB low or did you take it once it broke that flag around 70s? You should be like at least 20 points in the money, if not more. You took the retest, amazing. So you took the retest up here, so around 80s, and you got a cover into 40s. So you got 35, 40 points out of that. It's a really nice trade, really well done. Yes, trying to snap lower here. It is really wants to snap lower, but it just keeps teetering around. You have all those wicks on the ES as well from earlier in the day, from pretty much from the open. You want to see it just drive down and take all of that out. That's what you want to see. Looking good here. Can the ES make a new low? There you go. There's the snap. Be careful here for a reaction if they soak this back up. Be careful of a reaction here. You want to see weakness in the Qs coming with this, not just to soak off the daily level constantly. You want to see weakness. This is the daily level, right? This is previous day open. You want to see a snap into this area. ES weak now. It has cleared those out, but you want to see it underneath, and or at least get to IB low and then maybe get weak under IB low. And we've talked about it, there's divergence in the market. It's not easy. It is not easy to trade right now. Would have really liked to see this let go straight away there. You have this imbalance from this last candle down. All right, you want to see this stay heavy to go lower. I'd be very worried if it starts to do this through that imbalance. That big engulfing candle, you want to see that stay heavy. Oh, my bad. All right, into high time frame demand right now. Remember, this is low hanging fruit. This area here, old point of control, and the double bottom. So into 90 basically. Keeps respecting this trend line. I'll pull this out more. Yes, back to VWAP. Be cautious. All right, if this starts to turn and invert this, do not be adding into short in here. If it starts to get above this, you got to be careful. All right, if their mission was just to get to previous day open, it seems like an odd level to get to. But these moves are not huge. These moves are not huge, so you're having to be patient and not oversizing them. But all the time it stays heavy against this imbalance, we can potentially move down. ES really struggling to get to that IB low. All right, the divergence is huge. VIX looks like it wants to go, right? So VIX now approaching 1550. Break of that should take it up to 1555. Break of that should take it much, much higher, up to 1570, and then it can really get going. I'm expecting more downside here. I'm expecting these low-hanging fruits to come and be taken. ES now washing. Can the NQ now wash with it? This is the question. It's so ugly that it's not just doing it. Be careful if they flip this imbalance. Like I said, be careful if they flip that imbalance. Look at the ES and look at like the 10 minutes and where it's soaking off. Look at the deep pullback. It keeps soaking off it over and over and over again. Really tricky. Remember, you are inside price action. You're coming down towards the 5-day. You're coming into the top of Wednesday and the open of Thursday. It's really, really tricky here based on multiple time frames. This tapers, it can be nasty. All the time ES is rejecting VWAP, I would consider lower prices, but if this tapers through here, it can be nasty. Orders now at 75 up there. They keep flashing 70 and 75 on the tape. And you've got buyers sitting at 47. So are they going to try and soak this up now? Yes, with its first close on the M10 underneath VWAP, it looks like it wants to come towards that IB low, but who knows? This is a real battle, clearly. It's taking a long time to do anything. I feel like my sinuses are starting to block up. It's not fun. Here we go. Can it break down here? Needs to let go. Again, usual thing. Needs to have a breaker structure for flag for downside. These are low-hanging fruits, all right, if it's going to do it. So far, that 47 held. That buyer into 47 we talked about. He soaked it. ES came into the IB low, has not broken below IB low, and the VIX trading back inside. This is such crappy action, guys. Now we're starting to invert this. Be very, very cautious now if they turn this on into a buy. That rejection off the IB high on the VIX was pretty significant, and the soak on IBL was pretty decent on the ES. It hasn't swept any of the liquidity though. Didn't come and sweep the 10 a.m. candle. But does it now reclaim VWAP and start to get going? Super hard this. Super hard. It's just the alignment issue. So Ryan, you shouldn't be in this anymore. Yep, good. There you go. Perfect timing. All right, it's invalidated it when it started to get through this inverted imbalance. Inverted this imbalance. Should have gone lower. It didn't. Trap shorts at the lows. Potentially then we might get a trade back inside here. Maybe it comes and cleans up some of this action that we had this morning if it can get back above the initial balance. That H1 demand block for now held right here. Right, we traded back into it. We found buys there again. Is there a bullish move coming? Or is this a trap above this high? That's what I'm wondering right now. Is there a bullish move coming? Are we going to pivot up and start to support price action? It's very odd that it hasn't come down here, but maybe, because this is moving higher. This repriced. If it holds here, it can do it. If it rolls, I'd be worried about a trap. But potential long setting up here. Yes, very strong. Reclaiming view up that quickly. Very, very strong. No worries, Scott. Have a good day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. Just watching the book. There was a buyer at 70. He's just pulled his order. Still a seller at 325. It's a little way up. Probably not going to get anything today. Keep looking to take stuff, but probably not going to end up getting anything. David Oxendale, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Looking forward to trading with you. So this is the question then. Is this a trap? Right, did they trap buyers for that move? Are they going to move lower now? Or do they re-soak off here? It's very, very tricky here. And a lot of this is to do with ES. Retapped the IB low again. Right, so far intraday buyers have stepped up here. This is the inversion. Can they get above this? These are the low-hanging fruits if they've trapped. It seems pretty odd to me that you'd come this far down and not come and take all this out. But hey, they will do whatever they want. So Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft all red. Apple just about green. Google up 1%. Tesla up 1.5%. A real mixed bag. VIX at the midpoint of its initial balance. Looks like for now it's trying to hold that inversion. Because we're not being offered much range, it's what's stopping me from really getting involved here. And the extension outside of initial balance low was 40 points. The initial balance is 98 points, I think. 84. Yeah, almost 100 points. The inside days are definitely not my favorite days. Not my favorite days. All right, so this is your new trend and potential flag. You need this to break for downside. ES is now stuck between VWAP and IB low, which is a 4-point range. There is not a lot to be doing here. So pushback went into the IB high, the IB low and the deep pullback flow zones. These traders would have taken it back short. Now we're holding this imbalance here. Question is, are buyers going to step in here? Do we get high, 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 low, high, high for continuation? Or do we get trap and roll over? This candle down makes it a little tricky. It's a good rejection. We are technically trend down until we reclaim that IB low. So any long down here is early. Because we are in trend down. Technically, we're still in trend down. Those low hanging fruits sitting there make it very, very hard for me to have any conviction about a long. Like this all down here, all these areas. Small green day, see you Monday. Yeah, great work. If you got green day today, that's great. Even if you had a small red day, even if you had a flat day, it's great work. This is not lovely price action. Would imagine a lot of traders did not trade today. All right, potential lower prices then. Potential lower prices here. If we get this flag break, you really need to see ES get underneath the IB low and previous day open. Or is that previous day close on the ES? Got a long way to previous open. All right, so the relative strength on the ES is holding the market up here. NQ is in a sell. It wants to move down. It wants to take out the London low and maybe the double bottom, but the ES is making it extra, extra tricky. There's IBL on ES, so a big flush there. Need to see how they react here. If this is a stop hunt and a sweep, it will be very nasty. Watch these levels down here if we can come into them. So if you're still in this, try and hold your runners, take partials into those levels. That move on ES is very dirty. It's already reclaimed its IB low. VIX still looks like it wants to potentially break out, but it can't really get going. ES back under IBL now. If VIX can break out of its IB high and the ES stays under the IBL, maybe we can hit these targets that we keep talking about down here. The trend line down, the 5-day, and the double bottom, all right? Maybe we can hit those. Needs to let go though. This dance on ES is absolutely painful. Persistence, well done. Have a great weekend, no worries. I'll see you next week, I'm sure. Have a fantastic weekend. Can we get a new break of structure downside here? 2020 is sitting on the book, as is 2050 upside, all right? That's the liquidity provider. Yes, again under IBL. This is very, very tight. Here goes the VIX. VIX having an attempt for a breakout of the IB high here. Do we get a flush moment coming? It hasn't got through the IB high, but the VIX has had the attempt. Here goes ES. Will the NQ follow? Massive divergence. ES coming into that 800 area, all right? So 5,803. Remember, 5,800 is a huge, huge area. No follow through yet. No follow through on the market. Terrible price action with no follow through. Horrific. Love to just see a big flush here and come and take it all out, but it just seems unwilling to really have that momentum that we require, typical of a Friday with a lack of volume. We're at that daily level, remember, right now. Previous day open. Key levels hanging underneath us. You must be taking partials into these key levels. Here is another snap. Want to see it move down into these with conviction. If it doesn't and it keeps soaking, you have to be careful. We are in higher time frame levels. Remember, we're in higher time frame levels. Now it's swept London. That last wick swept London. Right at the bottom of that H1 demand, right? Let's get you onto it. Remember this blue box, right? That's where we are. Previous day lows, these double bottoms down here. Full reclaim there on ES, right? Very, very, very tricky. Done for the day, Ryan. Great work. Yeah, good work. Major money. Come back on Monday. Come back on Monday. So far on the ES, that looks like a failed auction. This is why it's tricky, all right? You do not have alignment. That looks very much like a failed auction. NQ swept London, has not come and attacked previous day lows or the 5-day. You got 5 minutes until you get a new H1 bar into lunch as well. I'm going to move my ES chart to a 5 minute so I can see a little bit more. Yeah, it's a good wick on the 5 minute. Rejecting again now. It's very tricky. VIX now through its IB high. So this trap played out nice, but we haven't had the continuation yet. All right, you would need continuation versus this probably for a move lower. The problem is this level right here is the IBL on ES and the IBH on VIX. Great work, Jeff. Ending the day green. Fantastic. Great work. Yep, see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy time with the family, friends, loved ones, whatever you're up to. feels like the market wants to let go here and come and sweep those levels, but it's so tricky. Remember, we are in higher time frame demand. It's so tricky here how it's just walked down really slowly. Do not want to get caught in a manipulation into the new H1. All right, you are 2 minutes away from a new H1 bar. VIX now comfortably above that IBH. Can it come and take out 1570? That's the question on the VIX. I'll wait a little bit longer, 5, 10, 15 minutes. We'll see what this new H1 does and go from there. Do we get a failed auction on ES, or are we going to get continuation? It's definitely into areas of demand and support. One minute until a new hourly candle. Where this hour candle closes is important. Is it going to close weak under that demand box and give an option to dig down lower, or are we going to close back up in this last minute inside demand and offer a reprice then on the new hour? Might want to reprice up to 75, 275. Slower day here on stream. Very sorry, guys. Choppy action, slower day. Not really called out a lot. Not been the type of day I like playing. Obviously, I like pro trend and I like directional moves. We are trading inside London, Asia. We've now swept both sides of overnight. So this is what you would call search and destroy if you're an SMC trader, or a megaphone pattern, something like that from overnight through till today. So just hunting liquidity. 10 seconds until the new hourly candle. ES now trying for a new low on the day. There you go. Just snapped that low on the day. NQ has not done it. Look at the divergence again. Watching the H1 here, sorry. Right on the edge, teetering on the edge. So every move down so far seems to just soak straight back up. No real conviction other than that trap play. All right, you can tell this trap play worked well. Trapped everyone and then rolled back down. So trap buyers up here. We didn't get above the IB, which is why there is no long. Your trigger long is above the IB. Until then, we're in trend day down. Nice move from the VIX, opening up with a volume imbalance now, really wants to come and attack that high. We can definitely move lower here. There's room to move lower, but there's just not giving nice moves to do it. It really lacks that volume and impetus to move down with conviction. VIX is really trying to get going here. Can it break 70 or 68? That's the old high. Look at where we are on ES, approaching what, 5,800. We've talked about it all week. 5,800 is that key level. We're currently at 01, 1 point to go. Let's see if there's a reaction there. I would say the setups on ES today have been so much better. The drive to the high, the rollover, everything way cleaner on the ES. 5 minute on. 5 minute doesn't look so bad on the NQ, in fairness. It dripped down, but it doesn't look so bad. These are still low-hanging fruits here. If it's going to do this move, these are the low-hanging fruits. But you would need to see ES break 5,800 and stay heavy. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Are we going to get heavy under 5,800 with conviction? Or do we break through it, snap straight back up? Because so far, every sort of breakdown has been soaked up. I know we're not making higher highs, but the fact that we've not come down into here and we're just basing in this old range, you have to have some form of caution until ES gives the clue. New lower low there, new lower low attempt into 801 again. I'm not watching the order book on it, but I can tell that so far they're protecting it. They keep soaking off it. And you have divergence here again. So lots of you probably leaving for the day for lunch. Before you leave, do me a favor, hit that like button. I will do that video for you over the weekend on flags. It'll probably be up tomorrow or Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. And next week we will do one on reversals. End of a 5 minute candle coming right now. Still right at 801, 801.50. I know I'm watching ES, not the NQ, but it's for a reason. We're coming into a key area on it. VIX very close to breaking out. So far, they're protecting that area. That area is key on a higher time frame on ES. That's why I'm looking at it. I'll give it 5 more minutes here. If the market does nothing, then I'm going to end the day pretty much flat, having done absolutely nothing, unless something sets up. So you'd be looking again for continuation lower into these. If ES does not break 800 and starts trending up, you've got lots of liquidity from here all the way up here for it to aim for. But again, technically you're in trend down until you reclaim IB low. You would really think they'd want to dunk it under 800, even just to run the stops and come down into here. but it's just not showing much of a willingness to do it. It had a really easy way to do it here. It could have just done it in one attempt rather than having to rebuild. Previous day close here on ES and the initial balance low. All right, so if it reclaims that, ES will do a failed auction. Good rejection there on ES. Very good rejection. Are they going to run the low here? There's my hotkeys trying to move over to higher time frame for you. So are they going to run those lows? The double bottoms right down here. Did we just break it there on ES? I missed that. Yeah, we tapped into it. 800.25. Right at 800 now. This is the level. Here it's coming. It's coming. It's very, very, very close here. There's a sweep through it and a soak back up instantly. That's what I'm saying. This is going to be really tricky here. Do they get downside auction underneath it after failing for continued pressure? Or is it a sweep and reclaim? Is it just want to sweep that level and reclaim? Back to 800. VIX now breaking out at that 1575 point I talked about. Everything on edge here. Everything is on edge here. New 5-minute candle coming in 5 seconds. I'm just watching that. 2, 1. How do they open it? Opening weak. Clear rejection there. Can they get follow through? Can we come and take out this lower range? So hard, man, without conviction for follow through here across the markets. VIX through 75, NQ refusing to snap down. Into lunch as well. Coop, the double bottom from yesterday is also the IB. Yeah, the IB low from yesterday. Yeah. Previous day low, like everything's low hanging fruit there. It's just like, has it built enough in to get there? We've had divergence all day, so remember, like NQ is a lot lower than ES is. It's just messy. It's messy basically. It's probably a good reason not to take a trade for me. There you go, instant reclaim again back to the upside. Can we get a flush? If we get a flush, maybe I'll try and join for some momentum down if it keeps rejecting 800, but it's really very, very tricky. We've got that 5-day just looming. You just want this to come and clear this area up, right? Just drive down and clear it up. It will just make everything much easier because then we know what's what going forward from there. Obviously, if ES reclaims 5800, reclaims IB at 805, again, it'd be a failed auction. I'm going to be right back, team. I've got a stop limit in for it to take it if it's going to go and do the move. So we'll see if I get triggered in or out. Oh, beautiful. Triggered in. All right, let's take a little bit of profit there. Lovely. Just a momentum trade. Yeah, we got the flush. Well, luckily I had it for triggered in for that. Not to that moment yet, but I've taken my partials. Stop break even. Sod's law. Sod's law, that's what we call it in England, Sod's law, I don't know what you call it here. Basically, when you wait for something the whole time and the moment you leave or whatever, it happens, we call that Sod's law. I don't know what do you have the same expression in America? All right, look at the VIX, guys. VIX now breaking out. We can get through 1583, 85, let's call it 85. Gets through 85, then we have top side, all right? It can come all the way up to 1660. That would be incredible. We would get a huge flush on the market. That would be really, really nice. The way that it's not just doing the moves fast, though, is annoying today, but it's very typical of a Friday. So I've ended up joining late, but I've ended up joining when I know it's letting go of key levels. I'm going to take another partial there because it's unwilling to move lower fast. So I'm watching QQQ down into 86.50. Not willing to hold this. All right, if it pushes back up to break even on these runners, so be it. I do not care. Can do whatever it wants. There you go, taking out break even. You have Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah, we have that. I think is that an Irish expression, Murphy's Law? Sounds like it would be an Irish expression. I'm still convinced that these are low-hanging fruits. Let's extend this out. Have I got this lined up properly? Yep, still good. Okay, so every time we come anywhere near here, we keep getting a bounce. So I just want to see it snap, right? I just want, come and take this. Even then, if it sets up a long later in the day, it's a much higher conviction long because it's run out the buys, right? All the buys are right here. All the buyers, this is where they're long from, swing buys overnight. So if it runs them out, this move then becomes way higher probability. But hey, at least I got a trade. I wasn't even on stream for it. I placed it. I had a feeling it might do it. Took the momentum for the breakdown. Took a little bit of profit. Lucky I got back in time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got any partial off, and I'd be break even on that trade. All right, so repricing this now. Be cautious of this. All right, you want that to stay heavy to come and sweep that. Reclaim that, same rules. And we would attack that. If we got through that, you'd be looking for a bigger pattern like this. It's a little bit messy, but hopefully that makes sense. That's where all the liquidity is. Yes, back through 5,800, right? Back through 5,800. Squeeze up here into IB low, reclaim that. You are into a squeeze phase of the market. If no one sold, covered, sorry, down here, they'd be in trouble. This would trigger squeeze, probably up to here. This would trigger squeeze up to probably VWAP. Where is my VWAP? Wow, I've lost it. Let's put that on, shall we? There we go. So you do not want to get caught shorting low of day, which would be down here. If you're wondering why did I have my limit to come and take a trade here while I was gone, because that was the equivalent to 800 snapping for me. And once it rejected that previous day close and IB low, I knew that if 800 snapped, it was likely to trade down towards here on NQ. So I didn't get much on that, right? I got very, very little on that, really. 10 points, I mean, it's crap, isn't it, really? But so far holding this in balance. Do not want to see a pivot here. Pivot here can lead to higher prices, but I still think these are low hanging fruits down here. The way it's getting there is ugly. Stay a little bit longer here. I'm going to stay a little bit longer. So it's been a decent week for me trading. I'm not up huge. Where are we at? Maybe like 5 or 6 grand on the week. Not great, but I'm not linking my accounts at the moment. I think I traded my top step 1 or 2 days, 1 day maybe, and traded various Apex ones unlinked the rest of the time. So it could have been a very good week if I did them all linked. But like you've seen today, again, I've made so many errors when it comes to hotkeys. So I might spend the weekend sorting those out. I wouldn't really like any longs in this until we come and take this out. Then maybe there's a long back up to here. Maybe. But you are absolutely in trend down. Right, we are in trend down. Look at the higher time frames. Look where we are. Look at the daily. Come to here. All right, the daily is trading down to its 5-day. We're right here. Can we come and take out previous day low? If we do that, think about the breakout levels. This is where we broke out from. This was old supply become support around here. This is an area, right? So this is effectively higher time frame demand. So push this up so you can see it. There you go. So if we're going to do this W, this is how the market's moved. It needs to hold here. If it lets go of this, 20-day and daily order block is looming. If it does that, I'd be very worried about this move. If you look at structure, we are in clear downtrend. That's your downtrend constantly. This was the trap we talked about that it offered. That was your trap play. Rejection of downtrend, lower prices. This is effectively your double bottom down here. So this is where it's trying to head towards. This is where all the buyers' swing stops are. Underneath that, you have pools of liquidity. I would ignore this because this was overnight, but this is definitely a good level here where buyers stepped in because we have a good inversion. We have a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breakout, push, pull back to level, chop, pull back to level. This would often be a good buy point. It would only be a sell point if that level failed. Yeah, so if that level failed, then next week we can do this, but this is normally a good buy point. Why? Because it's broken so many levels and it's shown itself that it wants to be bought. They bought here, they bought here. We return into it again, they will likely cover and buy for a drive back up. I know it looks really messy when I draw this out, but I hope it just makes it a bit easier to understand what I'm talking about. Line charts just make it really easy for you to see what's going on. Fig, I wish I could trade prop accounts. I kept blowing them up. I need the pain of real cash loss to keep me focused. Don't know if I agree with that, my friend. You don't need to feel the pain of real cash loss. Prop accounts will feel painful if you're treating them with respect. You don't want to be losing loads of money. Maybe do something like fast track trading, which is just posted above you. Right, so then you're not doing challenges, you have leverage, but you have to invest a little bit more money. Maybe it's like a $200 or something right now for a prop account, but you get paid every 5 days, but there's no rules to it. I think you might need a few rules when it comes to, you know, fighting the trend, adding to losers, stuff like that. I'm just waiting here a little bit longer because I'm just interested if we come and take this. Obviously, I'm not in this now. You know, I was in it to here, it took me out. I'm interested if we come and take this or not. If we take it, I know that maybe later on there'll be a trade set up in the day. If we don't take it, I'm probably going to walk away. We're already half an hour into lunch. And that old point of control is sat at 180, just underneath. That's from Wednesday, just underneath that double bottom. Look how hard it's finding it to get down there. It's really interesting how hard it's finding it to get down there. So is this going to create a flag now and trap on the lows and go? I still don't like it long until above here and really above here, but it's trend short until then. Do I trade my own account? Not on futures at the moment, but on things like SPY, QQQ, the ETFs, like more long-term investment, yes. I'm pretty much, Rue, I'll be honest with you, I'm not holding many positions. I'm mainly cash right now. I am expecting, you've probably heard me talk about it, I'm expecting a big correction in the market post-election. And once we get that, I'm looking to scoop up a lot of ETFs long term and just sit on them. Because 11% a year sounds pretty good to me, but I want to buy at really good value. And I'm absolutely sure of one thing. Right now, the market is not good value. It's way overpriced. Way overpriced. And historically, when we start doing quantitative easing, we go into recession. And what happened today? What happened this week? We had some strong indicators that inflation is ticking up again. Consumers are not spending money on luxury products. There are less jobs available, as we know, because they lied about it. So I think they will cook the books until election, and then we will see what's what. But historically, if you look at 08, if you look at 07, 08 and the 80s, we have a huge correction within a month of doing the first rate cut. I think recession will come. I think you'll find we get stagflation. And why after the election? Election years are historically bullish. So they run up, they lie about absolutely everything into the election, create hysteria, and then the reality of it is whoever gets in, they've got to deal with $35 trillion of debt, wars everywhere, and I'm really sorry if you're a Democrat voter, you're not going to get relief from trying to assume that supermarkets are price gouging. They work on 2% margin. It's laughable that that's even a subject, right? So the realities of her job if she gets in are much, much harder than she's making out. And I think she'll find it difficult, as will he, if he gets in. It's a fucking mess. The economy is an absolute mess. So if you've got less jobs, less people spending, credit card debt is at all-time high. Most Americans have no savings right now. If you get an uptick in inflation while they're trying to cut interest rates, they'll stop cutting interest rates very quickly and it'll become a problem. Yeah, they like it when we have certainty about who comes into office. Well, obviously we don't like certainty. But historically in election quarters, we pump. Okay, so here looks like they got trapped at the bottom, doesn't it, again? Right, we said if this flagged, it might go. Problem is, this is counter trend on the day, but you are off a high time frame level. The worst thing about it, again, is that we've left liquidity where it is highly probable to come and take. So it just makes it harder to join this for the move up. It's much easier once we've swept a clear amount of liquidity for the move up. ES reclaiming 5,800. So I wouldn't trade like I am now in the future. What do you mean, Rue? All my principles would remain the same always. Explain what you mean. I'll try and give you more understanding. It's just a question of when, Cypher, as in when we pull back. Yeah, I think so. I mean, the market's resilient, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if NQ fails to make a new all-time high. It wouldn't surprise me at all. He means, would I buy and hold instead of day trading? Yeah, oh, I'd buy and hold to invest, but I'd day trade every day, right? So I'd be net long. If the market dumps and it gives me a good opportunity to buy into weakness, into people's fear, right, I'll invest. I'll be net long investing, putting money away constantly into ETFs, but I'll day trade for cash. Does that make sense? They're two completely different things. You can be short in the market one day or like over a week, but you can be buying that market as an investment. It's always the way capped. They will always blame the person that came before them or whatever. And it doesn't matter what country you're from, that is always the same. Easy to point the finger, very hard to get the job done. Okay, so this feels like it's trying to use this liquidity over lunch and maybe come and run these. All right, again, be very cautious of a trap here because this is still low-hanging fruit. I would have much rather it came and took all this out first before even thinking about doing this move up. And that's what makes me concerned about a potential trap. You suck at trading still. Well, just stick with it. Investing, I did a lot better. Yeah, the principles are the same, right? So if you're looking at the higher time frames, you should be acknowledging where ETFs probably. I am not offering investment advice, but what I would do would be looking at ETFs because over the course of time, they are built to only go up, right? Rather than individual companies, because they will just rebalance the ETFs with good companies that are doing well in terms of P&L. And you just buy ETFs at good values. Historically, they'll give you 10, 11% a year. Whereas if you're buying an individual stock, you might come up trumps. Maybe you pick a monster. You know, if you bought Nvidia 2 years ago, you're laughing right now, but you could have easily picked a shit stock. You don't know what the board's going to do, what issues they're going to run into. But if you're investing, stick with large caps, all right? Leave the small caps alone, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an advisor, but don't be investing in shitty little small caps that your friends told you is going to be good. Their main job is to wash money, all right? That's all they're trying to do. Get stock value up and just do split after split after split, or reverse split in that case, and make their money, do ATM offerings, rinse, repeat, and pay themselves. They don't really care about the shareholder. And I would know I've been stuck in one specific one. I'm not going to say how much, but a huge amount of money I have lost in one based in the UK. Any feelers for how next week may be? Let's go over that before I finish stream. A lot would depend how we close today and where we close. We're still bullish. Dailies are still bullish. Weeklies are bullish. We'll have to have a look at what we have coming up news-wise. We can do that now. The markets did a dathering. Into next week. Fed talk was on Monday, PMI Tuesday, job openings, that would be important. More Fed talk. These guys love to talk, don't they? More Fed talk Wednesday. All right, Thursday, jobless claims, PMI, ISM. Friday, employment rate and wages. Big moves will happen Thursday, Friday. All right, it's going to depend where we close this week. I'll be looking for, as always, Monday, Tuesday range. I won't really have a bias coming into Monday unless we're closing right into demand area and we start to drive up Monday. If we do that, then I'm going to expect a higher week in the front side of the week and a pullback back side of the week. If we don't do that, I'm going to expect Monday, Tuesday to drive down, try and find a level of support, and then return back inside the range Thursday and Friday. Really depends where we close and how Monday acts. No worries, Cypher. See you again next week. 50% crash. I don't know about 50%. That'd be huge. It'd be amazing. I don't think we're necessarily going to an 08, but I do think there's a debt crisis, not just national debt, but like this is starting to print now. Still at 800. I still can't take it. I still cannot take this with conviction. But we are starting to turn here. Notice the flag and the flow zones are going green, so it will want to reprice to the IB if it's going to go. The problem again is the ES. All right, the problem is the ES. And we're in lunch. I probably need to walk away here because we're in lunch and every part of me wants to get long for that move into initial balance. But ES is still hanging out at around 800. We haven't reclaimed the IBL on anything. Oh, it's going to do it. I know it's going to do it. And we've got low hanging fruit below. Let's have a look at 5 minute. Yeah, clearly first time we've broken out here. So it will want to come and test this and then this. To be honest, I've missed it. It's done the move. We talked about the flag here. So this was setup 1. This is setup 2, offered you buy signal. Now it will want to try and reprice to here. If it can't do that, right, if it's going to be really dirty again and do the same type of move it did earlier, it's going to do this and then come for low hanging fruit. I would be using, if you're going to stick around, use the 800 level, 5,800 on ES as your guide, all right? All the time you're heavy below that, then there's more chance of this downside action into here. If ES reclaims the IBL and 800 with conviction, and I don't mean like it is now where it keeps tapping it and failing and tapping and failing, I mean a clear conviction through it and through 804, 805, maybe you reprice IBL and VWAP on the NQ. That's what I'd be looking at. But yeah, I think this is my signal to go away, because right now I am starting to feel FOMO. I'm starting to feel like I need to get into a long trade to trade up to the IBL, but I really shouldn't be doing that because the structure is not necessarily telling me right now with conviction I need to be doing it. So I'm going to get off stream with that one tiny winner of about 10 points and call it a week. Yeah, a few scratch trades. Yeah, that's fine, Coop. Yeah. But we had a killer week in the room. Exactly. We were green. 4 big green days in the room. That's really good. We only need 1 big green day a week. Good day for building patience and conviction. Exactly, Cat. Exactly. I tell you what, though, the VIX is starting to die. It's coming back and testing old wick at 67. Watch the VIX, right? Watch the VIX with the ES. Those are going to be your clues for this afternoon. Remember, you are trading into the end of the month here. Yeah, so if they want to reposition stuff again, they will. You're welcome, Marek. Aaron, my weekend regime. I normally go to the gym Saturday morning with a buddy for about 2 hours for a workout. I have a dog, so I'll enjoy taking her to the beach and going on long walks. I try and get off the screens as much as possible, other than making a video for you guys, which I'll do this weekend. I'll be taking my wife out for a date, just enjoying time with family. Well, I've only got my wife here. I live in Los Angeles. Obviously, I'm from the UK. And friends. I might go to the horse races on Saturday to see a friend who's DJing. And watch some football and some sport. Watch the Arsenal, watch some rugby. Just relax as much as possible. If it's nice weather, which it hasn't been great in Los Angeles, if it's nice weather, I'll go and sit by the pool, read a book. Do as much as I can to just get away from the screens and relax. And then on Sunday, I will come back and I'll watch the Open. I won't trade the Open, but I'll watch it. And I'll watch the book to see if there's any clues of any really big levels. Have a quick chat with the room and then back to work Monday. That's my weekend, basically. Get outside as much as possible. No, I'm not in the UK. I'm not in the UK. I live in Los Angeles, so I am up at 5 a.m. every day to do this, which is killer. Absolutely killer. But I have a home back in the UK that I rent out, but I live in Los Angeles. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me again on stream today. I really appreciate all the support. We are growing day on day, week on week. Hopefully we can get this stream up to over 100 people watching live next week. And in the next month or two, let's try and get it up to 500. You're in Brentwood, in Essex. I know it well. I've got family in Brentwood and good friends in Brentwood. Leave some likes. Yeah, drop me some likes. I'd really, really appreciate it. Share the stream, share the channel with your friends, any traders that you think could benefit from it. I will be back on Monday. I will drop an educational video over the weekend for you. Trade safe, use hard stops, all the usual stuff. Don't fight trends. Don't sit here all day if it's crappy action, all right? Get off the screens, go and enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend. I'll see you all soon. Peace out.